Hello everyone, welcome to Rocket Genesis API walkthrough. In this video, we'll break down how the API works, from creating an agent to securing endpoints using JWT authentication, and explain what each piece of code and variable means and what it does. Okay, so first here, this is our app.js file, and this is where we import our other files. So we had to create additional files in order for all of our endpoints to work correctly, function correctly. And since it was too much information to be loaded into one file, we had to create separate files and import them into one main file, which would be our app.js file. So we're going to start with our agent routes file, which is located in the routes folder. Okay, our first endpoint is post agent create. So here, this endpoint allows the front end to create a new sales agent. This line right here, it deconstructs the request body to extract the values sent from the client. So the if and return statements, so we check to see if any of the required fields are missing and they return a error message, if so. Okay, now this creates a new Mongoose model instance using the values we received. The sales field is not passed in because the schema likely defaults to 0. And in this, we then save the agent to the MongoDB database and return the created object in the response. So our get agents endpoint, it retrieves all agents from the database. This part of our code we call agent.find to retrieve all documents and .sort to sort them in ascending order by last name. res.json with agents in the brackets. This result is returned as an JSON array of information. And if, of course, nothing is found, then we will receive an error message. Or no data is invalid information is put into the fields, we're receiving error message. Our get agents by region endpoint, it returns top rated agents filtered by a specific region. This code, we extract the region query parameter from the URL. Here we query the agents where the region field matches and sort them by rating descending, of course, which is indicated with the -1. So the highest rated agent appears first. Of course, we have our error messages in there, 400 and 500, in the event that all information is not provided. Onto our patch agent update info. This route updates an agent's info. With this variable, it grabs the agent ID from the URL. Only these fields are allowed to be updated. Allow fields, updates, of course. Okay, so this loop creates a filtered object with only allowed updates. Here is our error message. Yes. Okay, so this creates a new manager or agent for that region. This finds the top 3 agent by sales in that region. This calculates the total sales by region or for that region. Okay. And this code right here, we apply the updates and return the modified agent, which is everything after if try updated agent, and if so, we return either an error code or we return the appropriate modified agent. Onto our agent, our delete endpoint for agent delete email. So we would delete an agent by a search criteria. Um, yes, we delete an agent by search criteria, which is indicated with this the query. This could be an email, first name, or a region. Here we find agents matching the query. Here we return error messages or a message letting you know that multiple agents have been found within that region based on the search criteria. And here, if we do find an agent, we delete the first match, assuming there's only one found. And if we're unable to do so, we receive an error message as well, which is indicated here. Our endpoint get all stars. This endpoint returns the top agent per region. So for here, this lists the regions included is top. Included are all the top agents. So here we loop through each agent. We find an agent with the highest sales. Loop through each agent. You find the agent with the highest sales, and then you store their info. And if not, then we return an error message. Okay. So our files are structured as you can see. Our agent routes.js file has majority all of our endpoints in them. Our region routes file contains our get endpoint, our endpoint for our getting our region. Here we have our model regions. Here we have our model agents, and both of these files are contained in our model folder. Now in our routes folder, I did mention we had an agent routes.js file, but we also have a region routes in here in our routes folder as well, which contains our region routes code information that allows the endpoint to function. In a shared middleware file, we do have a base middleware, a shared middleware folder. We do have a base middleware file that contains our authentication token, JWT authentication token, which it holds the code for the token, and we import the token into our main file, which is here, and we use it globally across all files. And as I mentioned, our app.js file houses all of the um, other files that we had to create in order for our endpoints to function correctly so that it wouldn't overpower this one file. So now we're going to go to our terminal, run our server. You can see it's running, it's connected to MongoDB, and the server is running on port 3000. So we pull up Postman and we go over to our post create endpoint and we hit send, which just to take you through, sorry, our body HTML ensures JSON HTML. We paste first name, we give it the information we want. So first name, last name, email, and region, and it returns our information. And of course, here at the headers, we have our authentication key. So if I uncheck this, it should give us an error message. Awesome. So on to our agents endpoint, we see we have our authentication key and it will return an array of information. We go on to our get regions endpoint. We see we have our authentication key as well, and it'll return onto our patch authentication. So we get our information. Our get endpoint, we have our authentication token. So we receive our information. Again, EJIR endpoint, well, the region north already exists, so we've already sent it for that, but let's just check to see if we uncheck authentication. Error message. Onto our get regions routes. And this contains our authentication key. And this was how I tested it to ensure that it was working, of course. So thank you for sticking with me through the end of the video. Apologies if it was a little rough, but appreciate you for tuning in. Until next time.